In total, lawmakers are looking at delaying or cutting about $500 million to construction projects like $108 million to widen the I-10, $48 million to renovate a state building near the Capitol, and $24 million for an overpass near Riggs Road and State Route 347. Also on the chopping block, another $300 million in cuts to most of the state agencies and institutions, such as roughly $20 million in total for Arizona's three major universities, $3 million to the Department of Economic Security, and $1 million for the Department of Juvenile Corrections. And finally, lawmakers are planning to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars from state programs to fund other areas of need. This includes $158 million from the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority, $38 million out of the State Parks Revenue Fund, and $15 million out of the State Highway Fund.
And right now, it's still unknown if lawmakers will be able to pass that vote this evening for that $16 billion budget proposal and get the governor's signature. But they have until the end of the month to actually approve a state budget. Guys, back into you.
It could be a busy night at the Capitol. What's the latest? What are you hearing down there about the potential tonight?
Well, the potential is, I've been down there and covering this for a long time. The best sign that they're going to work towards a budget is when food is delivered down there, and sources confirmed to me that, yes, indeed, pizza has been ordered over at the House of Representatives, so I would expect a long evening and potentially a budget sometime tonight or in the wee hours of the morning.
Late on a Friday night heading into the weekend. Dennis Welch live in the newsroom. Thanks, Dennis. Now to the Department